if accepted by
U.S. President Donald Trump published on Monday a 20-point peace proposal for Gaza that would end the war between Israel and Hamas militants. The plan outlines a temporary transitional governance structure for a post-war Gaza that includes surprise roles for Trump himself, as well as former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair. The proposal says that Gaza, quote, will be governed under the temporary transitional governance of a technocratic, apolitical Palestinian committee. However, it does not name any Palestinian individual or group by name as being involved in the transition. The panel would be supervised by a new international transitional body called the Board of Peace. It would be headed by Trump and would include other heads of state and members, including Blair in an undefined role. According to the plan, this group will set the framework and handle the funding for the redevelopment of Gaza until the Palestinian Authority has undergone major reforms. In recent weeks, reports of Blair's involvement raised eyebrows among advocates due to the history of British imperialism in the region. General Secretary of the Palestinian National Initiative, Mustafa Barghouti, told the Washington Post, quote, "We've been under British colonialism already. He has a negative reputation here. If you mention Tony Blair, the first thing people mention is the Iraq War." Like Barghouti, critics have also pointed to Blair's involvement in the U.S.-led invasion of Iraq that was premised on claims that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, which were proven false. The U.S.-led invasion was widely criticized for a destabilizing effect on the region and its heavy death toll. Late last month, Blair visited the White House to meet Trump. The Tony Blair Institute think tank has said it, quote, has had many calls with different groups on post-war reconstruction of Gaza. Blair's statement on Monday called Trump's idea a bold and intelligent plan. He went on to express support for Trump's, quote, willingness to chair the Board of Peace to oversee the new Gaza.
And we'll have a board, and one of the people that wants to be on the board is the UK former Prime Minister, Tony Blair, good man, very good man, and some others, and they'll be named over the next few days.
Well, Blair was extremely ineffective for many years as the special envoy to the Quartet, being the body that is the US, UN, EU and Russia that were meant to give a serious push to the peace process. And it was basically defunct after him, and I would say that even he was a colossal failure. So the problem is that unless this is a second chance for him to potentially redeem himself and do something good, but he really needs to be backed up by members of the board from the neighbouring states, Egypt and Jordan, and from the key Gulf states that have a stake in this, that namely Qatar, the UAE and Saudi Arabia. Blair. Oh, I don't think the Palestinians trust him at all. I think they view him as a colossal failure during the time that he was the Quartet envoy, and they're extremely worried about it. If you look at the reactions both in the West Bank and in Gaza today in the streets, they've been very negative. There's tremendous anxiety about not just him, but just about the whole likelihood that this plan will end up in a viable Palestinian state. There was no mention of the West Bank in the plan. I think he asked for it. I mean, he asked for it also of George W. Bush at the end of his term as Prime Minister in 2007. And also Trump stated as such. He said it like, crystal clearly. He said, Tony Blair has asked me to join the board, and I have agreed, So I think the idea came from him, not the other way around. He joined George W. Bush in the war in Iraq without any evidence. I mean, he said there was evidence of nuclear weapons, or weapons of mass destruction, and then it turned out there wasn't. So clearly there was an issue there. They also went to war without a United Nations Security Council backing. It was which was they sought it, they didn't get it, and then they went there. And look at where Iraq is at today. So clearly that's hanging over him. Yes.
We've all been trying to call for restraint and de-escalation, but the reality, I'm afraid, right now is that the situation is escalating and not de-escalating.
President Trump didn't say he was going to lead the effort, but that's the impression all of us have gotten, and that's what we were told before the White House announcement. So he's certainly going to be more than a member of the Board of Peace. He's been slated to have a lead role, and I think that's potentially very problematic. I mean, he has very close business ties in the Gulf, and he's actually in charge, or the Board of Peace is actually in charge of the funds and the reconstruction. If not so, I think, what has Blair got to do with reconstruction? It's not really his main area of expertise.